All right, so now that we talked about specific grips and how we can look to flank to get an angle, um, that we can once again implement this component of specific rounds where, once again, if we feel as though we can put our partner to their back, however, we struggle to get an angle. If we get to the angle, we feel like we're good. But we must go through this process of achieving the angle in order to actually work from there. If you feel like this is the area you're struggling with, I recommend using specific rounds where, once again, you can modulate intensity by saying, okay, like Lynn, let's say you're on your back. I want you to only stop me from getting to an angle. And now I get to practice trying to get to an angle against resistance. If I want to increase the intensity, make it a little bit harder for me, I'm like, Lynn, I want you to square up to get an angle. However, stop me from getting an angle, but use this also as an opportunity to attack me. So whether you can attack my legs, attack my arms, I'm going to have to deal with his attacks to my lower body. Whereas previously he was just being defensive. Now he can transition to offensive, and so on and so on. And I highly recommend that in between a lot of these rounds that you should really try to discuss with your partner. If something interesting happens, talk about it, right? I think a lot of problems and solutions can be kind of figured out and kind of discovered through this process of communication between you and your partner. If I find that Lynn did something very interesting, I'm like, oh, what did you do there? I'm going to ask this question. I'm going to try to understand what he's doing. I'll be like, why did you do this? And what kind of prompted you to do this? And so on and so on. And then I feel like through this process of you're rallying in tennis, I believe if that's the word, where you're kind of bouncing these ideas back and forth. And through this process, I feel like both parties get a lot better. So this is just some helpful tips, I reckon, in this regard.